All right,
There we go. That's my line. Well, good evening, everyone. 7:04 p.m. It's time to start our meeting of the Oakland Mills Community Association Village Board. As always, we'll start with administrative business. The first item being to approve the minutes from the November 28th board meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion from Bill, second from Warren. Any discussion of those minutes? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0. And next would be an approval of the agenda for tonight's board meeting. I got a motion from Bill. Is there a second? Second from Warren. Any discussion of tonight's agenda? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0. We are underway. First up, resident remarks. Do we have any residents who would like to take up to 3 minutes to make remarks? There is Mr. Berchinski. He's an enhanced resident, right? Retired for enhanced resident.
We'll give it 3.5.
You know what? I'm not even gonna set my timer. I'm gonna go on honor system for Paul Berchinski. Take it away, Paul.
Thank you. Happy holidays to everybody. I see that the other barn is appropriately dressed for the holidays. So anyway, I wanted to make two comments. One, as you know, I walked through Thunder Hill, and I'm kind of scratching my heads on an addition that is going up on Thunder Hill Road. It's a fairly large addition. It's right fronts on Thunder Hill Road. And I'm not an architect, but apparently the RAC approved the second story on this house that is totally inappropriate for that house, in my opinion. And I see they're putting white skirting boards on it, which will not go with the house. Hopefully, your folks will do an inspection to see how this thing turns out, but it doesn't look to me like it's going to turn out well, and I'm guessing that it got approval. So that's number one. Number two, I see that you've got RAC guideline updates for discussion tonight, and I'm curious as to what you're doing for electric vehicle chargers. So that's kind of where I'm coming from right now.
You happen to know the address of the Thunder Hill house?
No, as you're coming from 108, it's just after the first bump on the left-hand side.
Okay.
It's really apparent that it's I mean, as I said, I'm not an architect, but I was surprised that the RAC would approve a second story addition on a house that, doesn't have a second story, that fronts right on Thunder Hill Road.
Yeah, I'm just looking because.
Yeah, I think it's 1.
Did you say 5217?
It's really weird. It's right on the corner of, what's the name of that court? That's not Raccoon Court, is it? Or
Yeah,
is it-
Woodstove.
It's Woodstove, yeah, Woodstove.
Woodstove in Thunder Hill.
Thunder Hill.
I'll see. No, if I had the street number, I could just search.
5211.
What is it?
5211.
Oh, good one.
If it's who you're talking about, it's like right at the end of Patriot Lane almost.
Correct.
But across the
Yeah.
street.
Okay.
Across the street, right?
Oh, right, because there's others.
And Paul, just for clarification's sake, tonight, the architectural guidelines, I'm just basically discussing the next step in the process. So it's gone through committee, RAC, and covenant team. And tonight it will be, I'll be giving it to the board. The actual discussion will take place on January 9th.
Okay.
After the board has had time to review it, and then after the board reviews it, it will have be open for public comment.
Okay, well, I appreciate
Yes.
knowing the schedule on it.
Yeah, I apologize for the that you thought there would be a full discussion, but that will take place on January 9th.
Okay, well, I'll be back on January the 9th.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I'm assuming you'll post it before then so that folks can weigh in on at that meeting.
Yes.
Okay,
The idea is that, from previous revisions is that, like I said, the committee that was solicited and put together, they review it and we do all our comments and then we present it to the board and then the board has time to review it and discusses their comments. And at that point, then it's open for the public and then all of those comments are put together. That's been the way it's been handled, well, at least the way it was handled the last time. So I'm going with that same agenda.
yeah, I know that the guidelines haven't been updated in quite a while, so.
Yeah, COVID threw a little bit of a wrench in that, so we're trying to make it happen before the end of the fiscal year this year.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the information.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Okay,
All right, I don't think we have anyone else. So we will go right into new business. And first up is our sort of monthly, I guess we took an extra couple of weeks in between there, but we'll call it our monthly CA update with our liaison, Mr. Altmans, who's hoping to get more sleep soon.
It's the left computer. Nope. Your left, yeah. No, that's your right. That's your right. Sorry.
No, you're right. He's
Sorry.
right. Yeah, what? Who's on first?
What?
You all who's on first routine?
Yeah, that's why I said what?
Oh, okay.
I selected it on stage.
That's great.
You can't go like.
Very well.
Right.
Might have a page now. There we go. That's what I was looking for. That works. So this one's monthly update is more of an annual update this time. This is kind of going to be a year of review in CA that Dennis is having me do. So a lot of the update this time is what CA has done for the community over this past year. So some of our big program highlights for the organization this year. Dennis started off with our 23 outdoor pools. We had a total attendance of 422,157, which is a huge increase over last season of another 25,000 visits, but it also surpassed 2019 as well. So we're back in full swing with the pools, even with all the trouble we had with the lack of lifeguards. Additionally, the registration had 23,000 visits from the CMSL, 163 participant increase over 2022, and 1,145 of these swimmers participated in the All-City Championship on the finale on the final 2 days of July, right before the end of the pool season for the big All-City swim meet. Our Youth and Teen Center hosted the Making the Change program with Making the Change Incorporated. 23 youth explored how to track expenses, make spending adjustments, and the importance of a sound budget for their overall financial well-being. And the Columbia Art Center hosted our 2023 umbrella theme show at the Columbia Festival of the Arts at Lake Fest with 80 handcrafted umbrellas were on exhibit all along the boardwalk. And we had over 2,000 costumed characters that roamed the sports park and enjoyed games and collected treats and met our partners at CA's 2023 Trunk and Treat, which is what I talked to you about last time when I was here to get out. And we've got photos from the Trunk and Treat, the umbrellas, and I was at the Trunk or Treat hosting one of the trucks. It was great this year. It was just the right number of people. There was another one going to Swansfield and another one around the corner. Pretty much everywhere you went, there was a Trunk or Treat going on. So, but we had a ton of people at all the different events. We also had our marketing team out. They continued to deliver impactful content with the new Do More with CA newsletter, which has been pretty highly accepted by all the members with finding out what to do and when. The team also has done a lot with the membership programming campaigns throughout the year with the Health, Fun, and Connect within the CA membership experience. In February, the Columbia Maryland Archives celebrated the life and legacy of Miss Vivian Bailey with an exhibit at the Columbia Art Center. CA team members Aaron Berry and Amy dedicated months of hard work curating the exhibit, A Life of Service, Journey Through the Legacy of Vivian, with a reception at the Columbia Art Center. CA hosted 3 Change in Columbia Speaker Series events covering topics from wellness to business to climate change. These were hosted in 3 different village centers and online to make them as accessible as possible. CA also partnered with Howard County Library System and the Community College to put in the first Change Inspired Courage Ignite event. We expanded our CA Points program to invite all 23 Columbia Howard County Public Schools. 20 schools participated and more than 700 students earned a CA membership for themselves and their families by achieving academic success. CA hosted a first of its kind party for these families in May, and more than 1,000 people came out to the sports park to celebrate. Team plans to continue this new annual tradition going forward. In October, CA participated as an exhibitor at the Meet the Primes 2023 Minority Business Enterprise Networking event at the Maryland State Fairgrounds. 26 government jurisdictions took place in the event connecting minority businesses with purchasing officials to find work and grow their business. CA's Director of Purchasing, Pat O'Malley, met with over 100 firms to discuss how to do business with CA. Inspired by the fact that CA is part of the larger fabric of the community, CA worked with a bunch of different groups to basically make a big quilt. I've got a picture on the next one. It's better to see it than to talk about it, but it's amazing, powerful statement piece. 70 partners, all with commitment and service, are woven into the unique quilt. And then CA's customer care team facilitated more than 65,000 customer interactions this year and managed improved bill collection practices to positively impact CA's bottom line by over $135,000. There's a picture of the quilt. It's even better if you zoom in, and then that's a picture from the Points Day at the sports park. In the construction news highlight this past year, the Land Administration Division created the beta version of CA's interactive map earlier this year. Though it's still currently under development, once complete, this tool will fundamentally change the way CA manages the open space lands we hold in trust. Through the use of CA's interactive map, staff will be able to streamline workflows to increase efficiencies throughout the organization. The tool will be utilized for project planning purposes, identifying maintenance obligations in the field, and will be tied to CA's open space work order system. CA continued to progress towards reducing fossil fuel usage with the installation of high efficiency heat pumps at the Art Center, Supreme Sports Club, and the Kendall Ridge Pool. And with the Kendall Ridge Pool one, it also involved getting rid of one of the last underground propane tanks left on CA property. Look at that. At CA's request, the Howard County delegation to the Maryland General Assembly is considering a proposed legislative bond initiative in the amount of $750,000 to fund the construction of a permanent band shell to support performances at the lakefront. If approved by the delegation, the lakefront band shell will be introduced to the General Assembly for consideration during the next session. And capital improvements completed the replacement of 3 play areas and 13 bridges in the open space. And then this is a architectural rendering of the band shell that they're submitting with the state. Other organizational highlights: the purchasing team. Nope, or did that somehow that did. No. Oh no, that's the same. They're separate, but it's part of the same thing.
Yeah.
With the MBEs, this is a follow-up to the other part. They did over $3 million in total spend. The most we've ever done, was the highest amount achieved to date with the organization. In August, the Office of the General Counsel welcomed our new General Counsel, Judge John Kukno. The office also worked with drafting an updated code of business conduct and policies and accompanying the enforcement policy, both which were approved by our board of directors in July 2023, along with a charter for newly formed independent ethics panel. 3 law firms were recently selected for the ethics panel. CA's Assistant Director of Community Programs and Services, Anish Monroy was recognized as a 2022 United States Professional Tennis Association Mid-Atlantic Facility General Manager of the Year, and Tavia Patutsky accepted the position of Chair for the Howard County Public School System Health Education Advisory Committee, which provides feedback on the health and physical education programming and advocates for those services within Howard County.
So she's no longer with CA?
She is. She's
So with
on
the-
the
okay.
KIP council, yep, and she
Okay.
still oversees the 3 fitness facilities.
Okay.
A little bit of fun in December every year for about 7 years now. We've done an annual gingerbread contest for the CA team. The one on the left, it was the house from up, which was the winner, voted as the winner. That was done by the there's a much more basic person, but was done by the customer care team. And then the one in the top right was done by students at one of the school age service programs, which was the second place runner up. And then the third Merriweather Fish Concert, which is hard to see in the photo, was the one my team did, which did not get any placement.
Did it taste good?
Did not taste good. The gummy bears did.
Why isn't there smoke wafting out of it?
Yes, that's right.
We thought
That's right.
yeah, we thought Swedish fish was pretty funny. Yet. Apparently, it was not as funny as we thought. Couple upcoming events just to be aware of. The first Festive Friday was last week. The last one is this coming up Friday from 5:30 to 8 with Downtown Columbia Partnership. If you've not been down to the lakefront to see the fountain and all the lights they've done, it has been extremely impressive, and I highly recommend you get out to the event. It was great last week. It was funny. We all, I think me, Tavia, and Nisha, all of us were doing our DEI training last Friday, and without talking to any of us, we all ended up within like 10 minutes of our training ended down with our families down at the Festive Friday. So it just worked out. It's kind of fun.
So when is that, when is it displayed?
So right now you can go any night, but the Festive Friday is this Friday for the lights, for the big event, and they've got vendors and food and all types of stuff down there, and this is the last one. So this is your homework. I come with homework this time, so everybody get out your phones, scan the little code. Not, I'm sure she'll send out the link.
You also have a flyer in your
Mhm.
attachments there that
But-
has the code on it.
But everybody, if you should just take 10 minutes and make sure you help with CA's strategic plan. So this is an opportunity to do that. So you guys should discuss it here and then kind of work together. But you should also make sure everybody in your your village knows about it. So I highly recommend you take some time to do that. And then I promised last time picture of your baby. So she's getting bigger. That was her out at the Festive Friday where the dog walked one of the
Turkey.
2 over there, and on Thanksgiving. So she's getting bigger, but not sleeping great.
Well,
And-
that maybe she'll be a good teenager.
Yeah. And then that's my puppy the other night down at the lakefront. So any questions from you or anything you guys need me to bring back to Dennis?
Yeah, I have some questions for you. Is it okay, Jonathan, I have a couple
Yes.
questions? Yeah, so how many subscribers does the newsletter have?
I would have to ask. I could
Okay.
ask Tim. Let me take questions and email myself.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because I share that link in my personal newsletter. that I send
It's a
out.
lot.
Yeah.
It took everybody that signed up for the CA membership, so
They
it's
automatically get
fairly,
it.
yeah, so you do any of the notifications,
Mhm.
that's one of the ones you can select.
Okay.
So it hits a lot of groups, but I will ask.
Yeah,
Tim and
I'm
get
just
back to you.
curious. And then on the points program, I think it's great that it's available for all the kids who attend the Columbia Howard County schools. We've got some kids who live in Columbia, but they don't attend a school on Columbia property. Are we gonna do anything to reach out to them? Or figure that one out?
I would have to ask Jennifer. I know the big push was to get all the Columbia schools, and
Yeah.
then I think they were trying to decide what the manpower would be to expand it outside of the Columbia schools. If you guys wanted to know a lot more about it, Jennifer Wilkie from Customer Care came out to the Aquatics Committee meeting in the middle of the summer, and she will give you a full rundown of
Okay.
every single thing. So if you want to know about the points program, she can tell you all about it, which schools participate, all the numbers. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Is it all
but-
elementary schools or is it elementary, middle and high school?
So I believe they reached out to all,
High
but
school as well,
yeah, but some have chosen not to participate. So the school has a part that they have to do, and not every school
Yeah,
chooses to do their part of the work with it. But we have reached out to every school in Columbia to be part of it.
And then they would earn a CA membership. And is
Correct.
that for the family or for them?
It's for the family.
Okay.
So, yeah, so usually one of the kids is the one that gets enrolled, and then that child earns it for the whole family. And it comes with a lot of other good perks too. So for like CNSL, they get 50% off the CNSL. They did a lottery for, I think it was like 60 swim lessons for anybody that wanted it. So anybody in the points program could earn free swim lessons. So you get
Oh,
a
that's
bunch of
great.
perks with it, and you get 50% off group swim lessons. So you get a lot of perks with the CA point and the income qualified memberships.
That's great. Yeah, I'd like to know more about
Yeah,
it.
so if you guys, but I could reach out to Jennifer, and if you guys wanted to have Jennifer come out, she does an awesome presentation on the CA Plus
That would be
program.
great.
So according to the CA website, the schools in Oakland Mill, well, it's all the schools in Oakland Mills, but Thunder Hill participating.
Yes. I don't know why I thought it would participate.
And the kids have to do work projects.
Because kids-
They have to, I don't know all the details, Jennifer could go into it, but part of it is attendance and
And
grades.
kids in Thunder Hill.
Okay, grades in school.
Yes,
Okay, good. And is there anything else that they have to do beyond that to earn all these benefits?
I would have to ask Jennifer. I know the two parts from what I recall from 3 or 4 months ago was they have to attend a certain amount of school, and they have to get certain grades in their classes
Good.
to be able to earn.
So I got.
It's not just given, like, they actually have to work, like,
Sure.
it is not necessarily easy to
Just-
earn, but if
Just the
they
people
work
who live
hard,
in
they
Mills,
can.
the rest of Thunder
Good.
Hill.
I have a couple of
Doesn't-
questions.
Are they still
Yeah,
accepting,
yeah.
like,
Right.
if
because
they got a
get-
contact at Thunder Hill to reach out to CA, could they
From
still
points
participate?
north and east.
Gotcha.
I believe so. I think Jennifer is willing to work with anybody. They might be beyond, yeah, it might be past the deadline, because they may have already missed first submittals, but you never know unless you ask.
Okay. Who do we reach out to? Jennifer?
Jennifer Wilkie at Customer Care is the one that's been running the program.
Cool.
So on that points program, Marty, do you know? So you don't have to be a resident of Columbia. So if you just attend that school, you can do the.
Yeah,
points
any of the Columbia schools, I believe, but I don't know all the
Yeah.
details. I'd rather have Jennifer tell you for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know if you have to be on Columbia property and go to school or anything like that.
Great.
So, but I believe it's any, if you go to the school, you can earn a membership. So, but it's any of the schools on CA property they've reached out to participate.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
Marty.
to say they have to live in Columbia, just they have to
You-
attend one of those schools.
You said, congratulations on this, that lots more people are using the pools.
Yep.
Do you have any idea, since that's kind of your bailiwick, do you know why? Do you have any explanations for that?
I think COVID's over. I think people were looking out. I think people were ready to get back to normal this past year.
But it was even more than pre-COVID.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people moving into the area. I think some of the neighborhoods
Wow.
are starting to change over, but it's also. City pools are a deal. I mean, for the cost of the membership, I know people like to complain about it, but if you want to go join one of the private swing clubs, it's a wait list, $1,000 deposit. It's $2,000 a year. It's minimum purchase amounts at some of their snack bars over the course of the summer. And that CA, you can hop in and pay $500 for a family for a year. I don't know what it is off property. I mean, where can you get that? I mean, it's unbelievable. So it is a great deal. And it's not just the pools, you get the ice rink, you get the swim center, you get like that bundle of package that they did. I mean, Dan's much better at the numbers on this, but we have more play members than we've ever had with just when it used to be the outdoor pools only membership.
That's cool. So my other question was about the CA interactive map, which
Okay.
sounds really cool. I'm a map guy.
Yep.
Is there gonna be any public access to that, or is it just an internal thing?
I don't know, I'd have to ask for more details, I can ask Dennis about it, I know in the beginning it's internal right now while they're working with it.
Sure.
But you're gonna, but I believe at some point you're gonna be able to look on the website and see what's going on with it, is the idea behind it, kind of like the Howard County one.
Right.
Where you can go and look at the property lines and stuff,
Okay.
that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure.
That would
So
be
like if you
good.
see requests and stuff are going on, or there's construction going on pathway, I believe that's ultimately the goal where they're going.
And if you put
Right.
something in, will it do that? So it would track that? Maybe you could see where your.
I don't know, I can
project is.
ask, I don't know all the features 100% that
Sure.
are dialed into that yet. I've only seen the brief demo of what they're starting with, but you're gonna be able to look up and see what's going on. So if there's construction over on a bridge, you're gonna be able to pull it up and see what's going
Oh,
on
that'll be so
with that. Or
nice.
if they're working on a top lot, you're gonna be able to see
Right.
what's going on at the top lot and all the documents and everything that's been
Sure.
submitted with it. So I know that's where it's going. I don't know how much interaction you're gonna be able to like submit work requests or stuff through that. But I believe, according to what it's saying, you're eventually going to be, once they tie it all together.
That would be great. Thank you.
But I'll ask those couple of questions though about the numbers of people on well, I'll reach out to Jennifer about the points program and the numbers of people on the do more with the CA. I know Tim had it in one of the presentations a while back, but I'll reach out to Tim and ask. I'll get back to you to share with everybody.
Okay.
Thanks.
And Marty, your daughter's name Carrie Ann?
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's a song called Carrie Ann.
There it is.
Carrie Ann, yeah. Is it the Hollies?
I don't remember, my dad played it after she was born. I know it's an old song. And then I know there's a Carrie from Europe on the
Okay.
yeah, from
I know that one.
Final Countdown CD.
Yeah.
So I've heard those two.
Yes, okay.
But yeah, she's named after Princess Leia.
Oh, okay.
Oh, seriously.
Yeah.
That's neat. I
I
like that.
wanted Leia and I got Carrie.
Well, I'm glad it's that movie and not the other Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, she's not sleeping.
Some nights she's.
Not gonna curse myself, but we've had 4 good nights where she slept in her
Oh, that's it.
bassinet for the first time
Aw.
4 nights in a row.
Cool.
So we'll see if tonight's a 5th.
That's great.
And
Good
then
luck.
I
Merry
will,
Christmas.
and then I will miss all of you in January. I'm gonna be out on my FMLA to take care of her in
Oh, cool.
next month, so
Well
I will
done.
be back in February.
Excellent.
All right.
Well,
enjoy it.
That's fine.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
That's fine.
Nice to meet everybody,
Yes,
and then,
because they grow up too fast.
Yes, they do.
thanks very much. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful night.
Thank you,
Take
Marty.
care, everybody.
All right, Brigida. Presentation of draft architectural guidelines.
Reminded me of Mayor G. Krebs and the old Debbie Gillis show. Work, work.
Agenda is a draft.
So, this has been a learning process as I've gone along.
Wow.
And so I've amended the timeline once and I have amended it again. Simply because, as Paul mentioned, we did deal with EV chargers. We also dealt with low impact landscaping. We've gone through the entire guidelines, and by we, I mean the the committee that was formed. And we also I met with the Covenant team last Monday to kind of, good night, Marty, to compile everything. They're still adding a few things here and there, so by the end of the week, I'm making this promise that you will have the draft guidelines, the entire board will have the draft guidelines and the updated timeline. What I'm asking of you is if over the course of the next couple weeks, if you would look at the revisions and add your own comments, revisions, etc. On the 9th, the idea is that you would come back with your comments and present them, and they're a discussion, the 9th meaning the 1st January board meeting. And there would be a discussion. From that, I then get to compile all of your comments, and with the help of the Covenant team, compile a official first draft that will be presented to the public from all of your comments. So at that point, it will then be available both at the front desk and online for the public to submit their comments. And I didn't just make this up, I promise. It was what was done previously, and I am following, and I have also spoken to not Jonathan, I'm looking at you, Sandy, to kind of go over the process, as well as Carrie, who was a part of the last process, to kind of, as I go along, to make sure we're on the right track. I have been in touch with CA Legal, and asked, because Sandy recommended I do that, to see how long it takes them approximately to review. And speaking with Deb Box, she indicated that it would probably take a couple of weeks. She asked when we were thinking we would have the draft submitted. And if it would have already gone through the board, you know, looking over it. I said yes, and I said we're looking at mid-February. So she said it would most likely take a couple of weeks for them to review. Once they review it and they send back their comments, then we make the next, and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I've looked at this thing so much, everything's spinning around, but we look at that draft, and then we work on the final copy, touch it all up, and then of course the board has to officially approve it. The idea at the farthest most end of the game is to have it available by May 1st, 2024, at the start of the new board year. Hopefully it will be before that, but that is the last.
That's the cliff.
That's the end, yeah.
So when you say May 1st, you mean this board will have voted it in to be effective May 1st, or
Yes.
it will get handed to the next board?
No,
Okay.
this board will
Okay.
vote it in to be, and like I
Makes
said,
sense.
I'm aiming for April 1st.
Okay,
But I'm also a realist
But
in
that's-
recognizing that clearly I've had to revise the guideline twice, or the timeline twice.
I have a suggestion. I'm assuming that when you get this to us by the end of the week, you would really appreciate our comments as we have them, and not like all of us hitting you with them on the January 9th meeting.
Oh, absolutely, I would
So-
like it be
Oh,
when, like,
have you-
after, thank you, Jonathan. for that
Have you
clarification.
considered just like putting it on the architecture Google Drive, giving all of us access to the document so that we can all just hit one version, put our comments in, see what each other is saying, so
That's a
that you're
great
not like
idea.
left reconciling all these comments at the end?
Yes, Amy, I'm confident will help me.
Yeah, the only,
That's a great idea.
the only thing, because I've had to do this with novels, is that it can get very bogged down if you have too many comments. And it'll get really slow and it'll be really frustrating, but I
Okay,
think you should try it out, and as long as it works, then that's
Okay.
great,
There's only a few of us. There's not that.
yeah. Doesn't take much,
No,
and we have a lot of comments, yeah.
yeah, my trick has been how I want to present it to you, because currently I have all the track changes that we have done. I've been suggested to present it to you like that, but I feel like that's a lot. So maybe I ask what your preference is, if you have a preference. Would you like a separate, like pulling out the section that we've revised and highlighting the revisions? Or would you just like the track changes of the revisions with what's been crossed out and what's been added? I'm honestly fine with either. And you don't have to tell me right this moment. You can think about it and let me know.
so one way you're showing the change, you show the old.
It'll all be on
cross
one,
out.
right, it'll
I
all be
think I
on,
like that better, so. Are there any surprises or anything that might be potentially controversial, or something that you don't think everyone will like, or something like that you might want to point out to us?
I don't honestly think so. I mean, I will tell you that having Lynn Engelke and David Smith there was really helpful in having the full covenant team with Carrie and Karina there stating, okay, well, that's not enforceable, or that might not be enforceable, was also very helpful. So like I said, it's been a really large learning experience for me, but I don't think there's anything that would, be too shocking. I think there might be suggestions of additions. Like I know Rebecca, you had a big interest in the low impact landscaping. And I think we've looked at all the other villages to kind of see how they've recently handled it. And kind of took what we liked and what we didn't like and added some other things. So, but you know, a lot of brains think differently, and you have lived in in Oakland Mills for a long time, so you might have obviously different thoughts about it, and which is why it's good. I mean, I'm happy. It's been a lot, but I'm very happy with how the process is played out, and hopefully I'll remember it next time I have to do it. So I won't have to revise the timeline so much. So
Real quick, I think the answer is no. But in the guidelines, where there are statements in the guidelines that are mandated by the covenants, in other words, if you want to cut down a tree that meets certain size requirements, CA has to approve it. Are those kind of covenant requirements notated in the guidelines?
they're not specifically notated that they're covenant, like,
Mandated,
right,
can't be changed.
right, but if they're in the covenants, I know that they are definitely in the guidelines, but I don't think a special notation has been made.
In other words, if I'm looking at the guidelines and I'm saying, I don't like that, I'd like to have that changed. Whoops, I find out later it's part of the covenants, can't. I'd like to know that up front if I can.
Okay, so that might be helpful.
That
for
might
you.
be that might be an added wrinkle that might be kind of difficult, but if that were easily available, that would be helpful.
I can certainly try.
Because way back, I've read the covenants over the years, probably half a dozen times word for word, and the guidelines too at different points in my career on the board. And if that were able to be done, that would be helpful. Then we would know this item can't be changed unless you change the covenants, which is extremely difficult to do because it's mandated by the covenants. But all of this is not mandated by the covenant, so it can be changed.
Okay.
I know that might be a big ask. If it's too big an ask, don't go for it, okay?
No, to be honest with you, I certainly, have had a lot of help with this, and so, depending on Karina's, what her workload is tomorrow, she might be a good person to help me with that, so.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Looking forward to it. Hey, it's a good time of the year for us to get it. Things slow.
Oh,
down,
yeah.
We
Yeah.
look at it.
Yes, I agree.
All right, next up is the strategic plan community survey.
That was Karen's request.
That was my ad. You want me to talk about it?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure that number one, everyone was aware of it. Brigida, I saw that you sent it out a link. Okay, thank you, Amy. That you guys sent out a link, I think it was yesterday, to tell
Yes.
everybody on the listserv that the survey's out there. It's a funky survey. It asks things like why are you in Columbia, like the hospital, the schools, things that the Columbia Association doesn't actually have any control over. But I would encourage everybody to take the survey anyway and use those other lines where you can to put in what you want. Then you can do some free form, even if it doesn't exactly match. I would use those free form spaces to fill things in if you think something is missing. So, yeah, I thought schools, hospitals, those kinds of things, when I saw that on the survey, I thought, Columbia doesn't really control that, so. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of it, and that, we all take it, and everyone in your house can take it. Again, it's not just one person, as many people, I think they've gotten 200 responses so far, which I thought was interesting, because, we did how many responses did
Play area
survey got like 900 responses.
we just got that today. The results from the Moray group, over 1,700 responses.
Yeah, so I feel like you
17.7.
should put this out at the play areas to get people to respond.
Well, I will tell you that what prompted Amy to send it out was we got something. Where did that come from, Danica?
Well, there was The Long Reach put it out, but also, yeah, somebody from.
Oh,
CA,
right, we saw it, I saw it on Long Reach, so I said, Amy, I guess we should put this
And
out.
then you forwarded the thing from. CA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
It wasn't Dan.
Okay.
So I took it just before I came here, because I read what Amy sent out, and so I did it, said I'll just do it. And some of the questions were like, the way it was worded, I didn't know what they meant. Like they said, are you in favor of public transportation or do you support it? I was like, I don't know, it just didn't make sense to me. It's like, do we want it, or do you like it the way it is, or do you want to improve it? I mean, I didn't understand the question, the way it was worded. There was several of them like that. So you could have taken it several different ways, and that was my complaint with it. But I did fill it out, and some of it might be useful.
That's what I said. I think it's a different group than the Maury group who put the survey out. There's actually somebody that CA has contracted with to help formulate the new strategic plan. And so to me, the survey, I just thought the survey was a little bit.
Nebulous.
Yeah, that's like, but I did think there was a point to answering it, just to, especially for all of us, like one of the things that I think here in our village is nobody was happy that our pool closed at the end of July in Talbot Springs, like that. And Marty's not here anymore to answer this, but like, it's really hard to get swimming lessons. Like all the swimming lessons fill up so fast. People tell me all the time they can't get swimming lessons. So that's the kind of stuff that, and it doesn't just have to be focused on that. I think getting time at the ice rink, there's all kinds of things that are really, really challenging. And so those are the kinds of things I think we should be asking, that we're putting on the strategic plan, is like, how do we want, like that strategic plan shapes the next 5 years of Columbia. And so how do we want to, we don't want to exist in a vacuum. We need to keep moving forward. And what are those things we want? Like, how do we, like modernizing the pools, right? Like that kind of stuff. Those are just some of my ideas, but like, I would like to hear from everyone, especially the residents, on what they're thinking about, so.
Yeah, I think it's critical, the point you made, where you have the ability to answer in an open-ended fashion. In other words, others specify.
The others, yeah.
Dump everything there,
Mhm.
okay, because it was done in the pilot survey for the play areas, and I was reading through page after page after page of those open comments, and I wrote back to Casey Cox, there's a gold mine of information about PA with this survey information. People were just dumping, and I thought, man, that's a great idea, interesting feedback, etc. You wouldn't get that from the question at orientation all, but where it says specify other, that's where we told people dump everything in there, and that's what we fought hard to get in the questionnaire, because, in my opinion, questionnaires are very, very limited and tunnel vision, because they're all going after certain things, because that's what the survey is for.
Yeah.
But it really leaves a lot to be desired. There's a lot of unintended consequences and missed opportunities because you don't open it up with open-ended questions, personal opinion. So.
No, that's a good point, because when I took the recent survey, I kind of thought that, oh, they're fishing for this support for these things, and and I should have done the open-ended questions, but I was kind of in a hurry.
Take it again on your phone.
Yeah, that's right.
Might do that.
Redo it.
Okay, back up the
That's
dump
right.
truck and unload.
That's what I did with the pilot survey. I did it again,
Right.
and put in others, so yeah,
Yes, that's great.
good point.
Mhm.
Survey Monkey might recognize you on the original computer, but you can do it on your phone.
Just do your cookies.
If your cookies are- got your cookies.
Leave it all.
I probably have billions of this. Anyway, thank you, Brigitte.
Oh, sure.
All right, board chair report. First of all, thank you, Brigitte, for intercepting the traffic and police people so that we can meet with them.
Still have not heard back from
See
them,
how
but
they're going down, but hey, at least you made the first contact and we will keep following up with them. With that said, another issue at our infamous traffic circle is really rearing its ugly head. I've seen quick fixes on this. It hasn't been addressed. I don't know if any of them have even been closed or they're just sitting open, but that circle has the permeable bricks,
Mhm.
because of,
Mhm.
right? We don't want
Right.
stormwater just running down Stevens Forest Road. We want it going into the ground. Well, it doesn't. It leaks out of the bottom of the circle. So when the temperature goes below freezing.
Yes.
The bottom of the circle
Oh, it's
is a
heaving.
sheet of ice.
There was a
Oh.
turnout.
No, it's a sheet of
Oh,
ice.
shoot.
So
Was
this
it that
morning,
or was this morning?
when I left the house at 5:30 this morning, heading toward Broken Land, the bottom of that circle was a sheet of ice. I mean, if anyone had swung around there too fast,
Mhm,
you know, like going southbound on Stevens Forest, wanting to go into Farewell,
mhm.
they would have just slid sideways right into
There's
the
a
median.
median right there. isn't
Mhm,
there?
yeah.
So on the bottom side,
Yeah.
they need to put a drain.
Yeah.
They need to put-
Well, let me tell you, with Sequent Fix, Ashley, I sent her a couple notes and they have been responded to right away.
I've seen, see quick fixes on this. I think I put in one of my own. I haven't
just-
seen any of those get responded to.
Send it to Ashley and she
All right.
will send it to people and then they usually jump.
Another one, and I know I've done a click fix on this one. I don't know if any of you have spotted it. At the dead end of Thunder Hill Road at the Village Center, right as Thunder Hill, you know, dead ends at the Interfaith Center
It's on January.
at Santiago, right? There's a storm drain
Mm-hmm,
on Santiago. The lowest point is below that storm drain.
mm-hmm.
Monday morning, because I was doing drop up off and cutting through there to get behind the high school. Santiago was flooded all the way to the double yellow. People couldn't tell how deep it is, so they were just crossing, you know, crossing to the other side of the road because they didn't know how deep that was. And there was the storm drain sitting right above it, you know, happily doing nothing because it's not at the lowest point. I know I'll find them. I know I put C-click fixes in on that, but that's another one where if I don't know what happened. Like if we had all that rain yesterday and then it went down into the 20s last night, I imagine that would have been like a 3 or 4 inch thick sheet of ice there.
How wide is that space that you're talking about?
I mean, it took up it filled up enough to take up a lane.
Oh,
After
okay.
a normal rain, it usually takes up about half the lane,
Mm-hmm.
but it fills up a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was Monday, after all that rain Sunday night, it was especially bad Monday. And remember, I was doing drop off 2 hours later than normal. So it was like almost 10 o'clock Monday morning. You know, not the usual almost, when do they get dropped off? Almost 8 o'clock that it would normally be. So it had an extra 2 hours to drain since the rains of the previous night had gone away. So I don't know how bad it was at its worst, like Sunday night. Okay, so there's that. Just for your information, I was contacted by the school system to be interviewed Thursday as a quote key informant for Stevens Forest Elementary School. It's been identified as one of 4 Howard County schools that are designated community schools, which opens them up, I think, for more funding through the blueprint for Maryland's future. So they are interviewing parents, staff, and then community members. So I guess I got picked as a community member. So I'll let you all know. I don't know what they're asking or anything. I'll let you all know how that goes, but that's Thursday. So you know, it's an opportunity for one of the schools maybe to get some funding above and beyond the usual funding formula from the county and the state. And then the last thing, I was talking to Brigida about this. And we need to figure out how to do this. And since we have about a month between meetings, maybe it gives us time. You know, obviously we operate on a very slim margin when it comes to quorums. We only have 5 members. We need 4. We could, you know, advertise and see if we can get another board member. Last time we only one person was interested. But it does, I am concerned that we've had, you know, meetings recently where we're wondering if we're going to have the meeting or we have to start it as a community meeting so we don't have a quorum. So what I talked to Brigida about and what we're going to try is we're going to put something out, you know, where members of the board can go in. I don't know what form it's going to take. Pick the platform that works best. And like, you know, by, you know, 24 hours before the meeting. So, you know, like say 7 p.m. the Monday before the meeting, you know, everyone should go in and say, yes, I'm going to be there tomorrow. No, I can't be there. So we have an idea about whether, we should have residents showing up, guests showing up, everything.
Mhm.
And we're gonna start the meeting on time. And, personally, my thought is that a non-response to that is gonna be an indicator you're not coming. Because if we're not getting responses to it, what I don't want to keep happening is to have, like residents sitting in front of us for their appeal
Right.
with their infant,
Right,
and we're
Right.
telling them, we can't do anything but kind of stare at you right now.
right.
And then we have to huddle in the back to figure out what we can do. And that, or, we have guests here to speak in our meetings and, they're waiting to speak and, we've told them at 7, they'll be on at 7:15 and we don't get the meeting started till 7:15.
Well, that
I
would
just
be,
wanna
that
avoid
would be
things like
good
that
for
happening.
that one. I mean, that was my bad. I somehow missed that I was supposed to come early. So I didn't come until
Well,
7 o'clock.
It's no one,
No,
it's,
no,
it's,
but,
it's
but
no
it
one's
would
bad. I
have
think
been,
it's
it would
just
have been
something,
nice.
because
for
then
that one to
if you
happen.
do that,
If I could speak,
yeah,
it would have been nice to have had like a reminder.
yeah.
So you might have sent a reminder, but I still missed it. I might have missed them all, because I am not a lover of email, so, and my email is enormous. I get a lot of email, and it's just a
Do
lot
you
of
guys want
stress.
text reminders?
A text would be great for me. That's the way I do stuff. That's the way my doctor tells me, all the doctors tell me reminders. So I just can't wade through all the emails.
Yeah, and it's not, it's honestly, it's not meant to be for anyone's bad. It's just,
Right.
I think it'll just be a way of keeping us organized and letting us know what to prepare for. That's all. If we don't have responses, we know that we probably have to
Sure.
reschedule things or chase someone down to make sure we have that third person or something, but at least we're not doing it that night, right? It gives us 24 hours to plan. And that's everything, unless you all have any questions for me.
Nope.
All right, over to Karen.
So we have a meeting this Thursday where we're gonna talk about the budget. It's a draft budget that we're gonna be looking at. So if anybody's interested, I think it should be an interesting discussion this Thursday. In the meantime, we have had some closed meetings with Transpro to get the job description and all that kind of stuff situated. So there should be an announcement. There should be something coming out in the next few weeks, a press release or there'll be something coming out from CA as well as Transpro on, the job description, everything for the new president that we're looking to hire. And the plan right now is that we think we'll see candidates at the end of February, and we should be able to make a decision within a few weeks after that, after we've interviewed everybody. So and everything, I will share as much with you guys as I possibly can. And this Thursday is the last meeting of the CA board for the year. So nothing until January.
So how's the year going for you? Is there a lot of surprises?
I don't think it's surprising. So first of all, I really like it. Second of all, I don't think it's been surprising so much so that some of the stuff that I thought was confirmed. And so like the way the budget process works and some other things. And so there's a lot of things where I think the board could actually make a real difference in how CA runs, starting with hiring a new president. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Nikita, village manager.
Okay, so the last time at the meeting, I had given the calendars for the election. And we do need to vote on those. Now, I don't know if you're ready to vote this evening, or if you'd like to wait until January. I know one of the notes I had from last year when I was just watching the board meetings was that we had wanted the process to start, the calendar to be approved in earlier than it was last year. So that is why, now the calendar, the election day this year is the same weekend it was last year. So what I have done is I basically went through and adjusted the dates accordingly to match 2024. Yeah. With that being said, I have put out 2 feelers to the election monitoring committee to try to convince somebody to be the chair, to no avail. So, I am looking, probably before. I don't really know what a good strategy is. I don't really want to wait until January to ask, so I'm probably gonna put something out next week early to see if there's a community member who may have an interest in being the chair, which possibly creates a larger learning curve, but we certainly need a chair, so, you know, we'll just cross that bridge. Now, the only thing that we specifically added last year was the financial contribution
Mhm.
disclosure statements. Other than that, everything is pretty pretty standard from year to year.
It's to me, it's fine. I mean,
For any of these holidays.
yeah,
That's a big deal.
that's really a big thing.
Now, I did notice that it says on Tuesday, January 9th, we're supposed to appoint the committee members and the chair. So that's a nice goal. But we have to have the chairs to appoint, so.
So,
And the Bobs aren't gonna do it, right?
No, I have double checked with them. They said that they would prefer not.
They've done their time.
They've only done it like a million years.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a discrepancy, Jonathan?
no, I'm trying to remember. Last year, I thought last year we added dates on the calendar for the window when the electronic voting would be open,
Oh, yeah.
didn't
Yeah,
we?
did.
Cause it closes at like 4:30 the Friday before the election day, but I forget how long it's open. But there's no, it says when everything gets mailed, but it doesn't actually say when the voting opens for, other than in person.
Are you guys gonna use the same, do you have to put out a bid for the company for the,
No, the understanding is we're using the same company.
a lot of people I talked to, Brigida, threw their envelopes away because they didn't realize there was a ballot. So I was gonna just make a suggestion that it might say ballot enclosed somewhere on it.
Yes.
I know you can't take it there.
No, I'm saying that because I had made that same suggestion last year. So I think that. Well, without getting ahead of myself. Because my brain doesn't always like when I do that, but there are some ways that was created that definitely need to change. That is a definitive, so. Jonathan, let me add that because I agree, it should be on there, and I'm not quite sure why it's not. Yeah, that's very strange. But, okay,
I feel like it was there the last time I looked. I wonder
I
if they're
know.
trying to cut it down to one page again, something got locked off, or, yeah. Oh, no, I guess I just, in my mind, I just saw it there even though it wasn't there, because it was there last year.
It's at the bottom on my voting plan. There's no.
Yeah, it just doesn't say when it starts.
Yeah, it just says that the election newsletter with ballot will be mailed, but that doesn't clearly state that will allow them to vote electronically. So I do think that there should be something. Maybe just worded differently.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, maybe even right there, electronic newsletter with ballot will be able to every OM property, blah, 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 period. Online voting portal will open April, whatever.
Okay, okay.
And I have major issues with the way the company handled the ballot last year, which made it very easy for people to see how an individual voted. Okay, and I felt that will deter some people from voting. It almost made me say, I'm gonna vote the person to help with this. I think we need to dictate, because we're paying for it, how they're gonna do that, okay? And I don't know the exact details right now of how, but we can't allow that to happen again this year. We're paying, we dictate exactly how we want them to handle it. So it is as much as possible a secret ballot. Because last year, I think how you voted and your signature and address were all on the same piece of paper. Okay, so somebody counting the ballot sees, oh, so-and-so from this address voted this way. And that is a huge deterrent.
So in the in-person voting, that was not how it was.
Right.
And that was only when it was done electronically and when it was done. Right, and then it was separate, they marked the address down and it was separated, and it was just the individuals at IntelliScan, so it wasn't anybody. Like,
the mail-in went to IntelliScan.
That's what I'm saying. I have lots of issues with a lot of things with elections and ballots. But the bottom line is somebody out there might know somebody here, and we don't know that, okay? I don't want, how it used to be handled here, the paper ballots, the ballots in public here, the ballot was taken out of the envelope and put in a pile. The envelope was put over here and that address was crossed off the voting list, okay? And the ballot, the envelope had the identity information on it, were separated. And so people couldn't know even here. But the company that's handling it, they'll all know. Whoever does it, they'll see, Bill McCormack voted this way.
Why do they
Okay.
need to know that?
Excuse me?
Why do they even need to know that?
The address to.
they have to validate that it's a open note that on
Right.
there.
But everything has a unique serial number, right? So why don't they just have a list of serial numbers affiliated with Oakland Mills Village? Cross off the serial numbers as you get them, send us an extract of the serial numbers that have voted. We would have the crosswalk to addresses, so all we would know is an address voted, not how they voted, and then we would be able to prevent them from coming in and voting in person because we have them marked off. But like IntelliScan doesn't need to know anything about the address that voted if they're creating the serial number as a unique ID for every mailer. All they need to know is that serial number voted.
That makes sense.
We could have the crosswalk between the serial number and the address, because we need to know the addresses, they don't.
You
Right.
just provide, so they just provide the ID,
Right.
right?
So that would just mean that we would be the one doing the cross-referencing, as
Right.
opposed to them doing it so,
Oh,
yeah,
That
so
would be
the idea is that they
So we
take,
wouldn't know how they voted,
I think if,
because all we would get from IntelliScan is a list of serial numbers that voted. Here, cross these off to make sure these addresses don't, these numbers don't vote again. We would know the addresses, so if a resident then walks in and says, I need a ballot. Oh, what's your address? 6144 New Leaf Court. Oh, well, the serial number associated with that already voted, sorry.
but
You
what
can't
you're
vote
saying
again.
is that then we'd have to do more work, right?
well, I don't understand that, because if they have the unique serial number, they're like. Karen Emery this is her serial number for her, for 5358 Thunder Hill Road, here's her serial number. So they send me the ballot, and then I mail that ballot back in with that serial number, they should be able to say that on their list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 voted, we've got the ballot, and then they can produce a list. For you that has the address with the serial number, why can't they just do it that way?
they'll still,
Why can't they do the crosswalking of all that stuff? Why would we have to do it?
well, because that's what Bill is saying, that it puts one and one together.
Because then one party has the serial number, the address, and how you voted in one place. I'm saying separate one of those three pieces of data, and then you don't have that issue.
So it just puts that cross-referencing, it would come back to us. So if they send us the serial number basically stops people from voting more than once. That's the idea of the unique
Right.
identifier. They would have that serial number assigned to an address. So they would know, okay, serial number, that address voted, because again, we don't want,
Okay, I get what you're saying.
it's all about making sure people don't vote more than once. Now,
Separation
I
of
don't think
duties
it's
and stuff.
impossible to do what you're requesting. I don't think it's
So
impossible.
I don't know, I mean,
Because I don't know exactly how all the electronic votes work, but I know I got the ballot in the mail, and on the piece of paper I had to sign here, my address was here, and then the ballot was right here all on one sheet of paper. And I said, I pulled this up and mail it into the company that takes care of it. But the person who opens this up will see my name, address, and how I voted. Now, they might be in a different state and they don't know me or anything, but I don't know that there isn't someone there who knows people here and can say, hey, so-and-so voted this way, so-and-so voted this way. You know, so that was and I know I understood the voting system, et cetera. There might be residents here who open it up and say, hey, I'm not going to show anybody that information. You know, and they drop the ballot and don't vote. And so that was my concern, that it might inhibit voting because of the way the ballot was constructed last time.
there's a flaw in my logic. They mail it for us, don't they?
Yeah.
So they have to have the crosswalk
They
between the
do,
scan
that's
and the address.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that the same ones, we didn't want it to have all be on the page that they send in.
Yeah,
And
Because-
and Amy and I did, I mean.
Oh, we tried so hard.
We went back and forth with them to set it up exactly how you're discussing. And I'm not saying we can't try again, we even sent
They would
them.
not listen, and I have never encountered
Yeah, we-
anybody that doesn't listen to their customer.
What did we do?
And that's why I'm saying I really don't want them this year because of that issue from last year.
And I don't,
We were thinking about looking at a different company.
What did we do the year? I know that there was a year, so my mom and dad were asking me questions about it. It was before I moved back in with them. The Rashida George, Ginny Thomas election. I feel like they just got a piece of paper that said, had two Ginny Thomas,
It was the
Yes,
regular ballot.
it was a regular ballot. that
and then
was
they
sent
just mailed
to
it
the
back
mail.
in.
It was the old way that we used to do it.
yeah, we
Right.
can electronic.
Because it was only the CCR election, we didn't have enough candidates for the board. To have like a voting election, because they were just.
No, it was still an election, we had two candidates.
Yeah,
Not
Rashida,
for
Yeah, we
not
just
for-
had this.
not for
yeah.
the regular
Yeah.
board, it was only the CCR, was only the
But
only.
we still run it the same way, but we didn't have
it was the
electronic.
same last year.
But you-
We only had a
Yeah.
CCR election last year.
Right, we didn't, it wasn't.
we didn't have
last year
electronic.
was the first.
It wasn't
Last year was the first year of electronic. So before last year, we just did what we've been doing since Bill was on the board the first time, just mailing a paper ballot to every address that people could mail back.
Yeah,
Actually, it would go back to Wild Lake and then get collected, but it would go into the box.
yes, because the way it was done is you put the ballot in here, and in here you mark who you vote for, you put it in an envelope, and on the outside of the envelope, you had your name and address and your sign, and then it went to a mailing address over in Wild Lake. Those then came here, and a group here, the election committee, would then open up the envelope, look at the envelope and say, oh, Bill voted, his address is there, check him off the book, okay? We're gonna hit the envelope over there. They wouldn't open the ballot and say, there's the ballot, okay? Separate the piles, so we don't know which ballot is Bill's, and there'd be a pile of those, and then they would take, several hundred ballots and say, here's 40 for this group to count, 40 for that group to count. And then they'd open it and say, oh, here's how this ballot voted, but they wouldn't know it's me, okay? And I even had some issues with that. I suggested, but it didn't go, was here's the ballot, put it in an envelope, plain envelope, seal it, then put that in the second envelope, okay? And it comes in here that way. That was rejected, okay? But at least in the eyes of everybody here, you could see the ballot wasn't opened and the envelope was marked off as that address voted, and nobody knew what was inside that ballot, got put in the pile, so nobody knew how I voted. And I think that was important for how we handle mail-ins, certainly because this past year, here's your ballot, Bill. You sign here, here's your address, here's who you vote for. It's all on one piece of paper. And it goes, mails into the company out some other state. They see I voted this way. They don't know me from Adam, but they might know people here, you know, from Mills, and they say, hey, here's how Bill voted, here's how these people voted, et cetera, et cetera. So it could be a deterrent for people who open that up and say, wow, I'm not used to that, and don't vote. Okay, it might not, but to me, as soon as I opened it up, I said, wow, that's an issue. So that's just my personal opinion.
Of course, if that happened, they would be guilty of a breach of contract, because I think we had language in the contract that they can have no affiliation back
Yeah,
to Oakland Mills.
and then people can still come in and vote in person.
Right.
There's still an option. If they
I
don't
also
have
think that they
to.
should be able to drop their ballots off. I think that was another issue for people last year, is they couldn't just drop their ballots off.
That's difficult when you're doing online voting and you have the online company calculating anything like that. That would be like, no,
Then you have another whole system you
yeah.
have to do. It's a whole different process, yeah.
Or we should explain to people that there's a reason why you can't drop your ballot off, because I think a lot of people thought, oh, I'll just drop my ballot off.
Yeah, they just have to learn. It's a new way of doing things, and yeah, can't do it that way anymore. I know that's hard for people, but yeah. If it won't work, then it won't work.
There probably is a way to solve your problem, Bill, but you're concerned, but I don't think we're gonna solve it here.
No.
No, we have to talk.
No, and
No.
I'm not,
Because it's 8:15, we're on to the board bulletin board.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I
Yeah,
just
well,
wanted to
I
know.
want you to know that I hear what you're saying, and I myself had some challenges last year.
It's really important.
It was challenging, so
You're nicer than
I do feel that, before we get there, we definitely should, so I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I wanna constructively approach them and just, and so basically I'll give you an update. I do hear everything that you're saying, and I hear your concerns, absolutely.
Because we're paying the freight.
Right,
We
right,
dictate to you, you give us a hard time, you're out of here. Next, let's see if you can
Right.
cut the mustard
Well,
company
they
and
basically
be good
said,
customer service.
they basically said with the formatting on that ballot, this is how we did it in other villages. And then they just,
this is my second year though, so I'm stronger on my feet,
it
so.
felt like they were knocking them on the head.
So, I hear you,
Thank you.
Do I get to say anything, Jonathan, from my report?
Of course you do.
You said on the board bulletin board.
She actually has some important things.
I do, I actually have some very fun things to tell you about. So. I won't go through everything, but as far as facility updates, so we had our walkthrough with CA facilities of all the other barn and the 3 neighborhood centers. I will tell you, they're all in pretty good shape. There was a few things that we found. Talbot Springs is the one they had, Talbot Springs and Stevens Forest, they are looking to replace the toilets and sinks. They are in need. Talbot Springs, they're thinking of possibly painting the building. I said that would be lovely. But overall, everything's in pretty good shape. They did indicate what I was talking about before, is that the ramp coming out of the lift is technically not really ADA compliant. And so Josh was trying to come up with drawings of how we could make it ADA compliant, which may equal this door being moved a little to the left, allowing more space. However, there's a closet back there that has to open up, so they're not sure if it will work. So the first plans they discussed today with, which will segue into my next part, the company that is installing the bathroom upstairs. So I had myself and Ashley met with John McHugh and the company. Oh, and I looked at their names so I would remember to tell you the construction company that is doing the work. We met the foreman, two wonderful gentlemen who will begin work on January 2nd at 7 a.m. in the morning. The first 9 days, Jonathan, I did forward you the tentative schedule. The first 9 days will just be demolition. So I say that to say that we're not sure how that will be as far as our building, because I don't know if you've ever been in here downstairs when there's something going on upstairs. It does feel like the world is colliding in on you. So I'm going in with an open mind and the idea that if it's unbearable, I will be here, but I'm not going to make people work here. Like, I'm going to allow them to work from home because I feel like that's reasonable. It does go into our first board meeting night in January. So my thought was, unless you have some strong opposition, that we should plan on possibly having that a virtual meeting only. If you're okay with that. Because I don't know. They'll be working a lot of demolition in the front, but they'll also be working back here. I don't totally know what it's going to look like. As with any construction calendar, it often gets revised many times. So
When is that? Which one?
it's January 9th.
The January 9th.
Yes. So it will affect the electricity, the water, all at some point. It will mainly affect the front office and the ladies' restroom at one point. We are planning on giving tours. They said that should not be a problem. We just won't be going into the loft because that is a huge tour time. Engagements after Christmas and Valentine's Day. They were fine with that. We went over all of like timing, where we were going to put everything. And so Ashley and I went through today. Judd will be moving everything out of the storage closet over the break. And Ashley and I will be moving everything out of the front office next week, once we get through this week's holiday events. So I think that's the big thing. It's scheduled to be completed by March 15th. If they have additional money, that's when they'll consider doing the ramp if it works out. And Ashley said, could you touch up the paint upstairs? So they did say if they have, I'm sorry, Amy, I don't know my back to it. If they have the money and they're able to, they will possibly do that as well. So
When you say front office, you mean the Charlotte's office?
Yeah.
The front, yeah, not the.
oh, I'm sorry, no, Charlotte's office in the front. So as far as I know, other than that first week, we should pretty much be open for regular business hours. But again, I'm gonna have to play that by ear. The only other,
So let me just say, if you think there's a good possibility that we won't be able to hear or it'll be a mess, maybe we should just schedule it to be a online only. Kind of makes sense. It's easier to do it now than to.
that would be my thought, at least for I think by the second one, the demolition period will be over and I'll know more of where we're at. But I feel like for that January 9th meeting, it just might be easier.
Because that's usually a crummy weather month.
Well, that's what I thought. Who
Right.
wants to go out in the freezing cold, and although it might be 70 degrees.
Yeah, I'm worried about like dust and whatever it's gonna be like
Yeah.
picking up, so.
Well, our masks back on.
And then just so you know that our office will be closed. Ashley and I will both be working next Friday, but our office hours will end Thursday, the 21st at 4 p.m. and we will not reopen until January 2nd at 10 a.m. The construction workers will be in our building when we are not. So they will have access. But it will mostly be early in the morning because they start their morning at 6 or 7. And I was like, I'll get here early, but 6 or 7, was pretty early. So, just so you know that if you see the lights on, I know, Jonathan, I'm up, I'm just not. at
5:30
work.
guy. Don't worry, 5:30.
I can swing by at 5:30 on my way to work and
And
just check on
let 'em in.
things, yeah.
So, and then all the rest, you know, you can read yourself if you have any questions. If you're around on Saturday, definitely come and check out our courtyard lights. And if you're, don't have anything to do tomorrow and you want to build a gingerbread house, we still have tickets available, so.
What time does the lights start on Saturday?
5 p.m.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna go there and then I have to go to, I have a party. Did they get invited?
This isn't your only night out.
Right, right,
That's good.
this is not the
That's
be all and
good.
all of my social activities, I haven't done any good.
So that's all.
Okay,
Thanks, Sabrina.
so we're gonna have a closed session, so let's do the bulletin board now, so that if anyone doesn't want to return to reopen, they don't really have to. Amy,
I don't have anything.
Brigida,
I don't have anything other than I hope you all have a wonderful holiday and, I'm thankful for all of you and, even though it's cold to come out on these nights, but I enjoy coming on these Tuesday nights, so I'll miss you in January if we're at home. But happy holidays to everybody.
I'll do the same. I'll go through, let's see, Happy Hanukkah, what's left? Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year,
Happy solstice.
Happy Solstice, Happy Eid, when those occur twice a year. And if anybody's left out, please send me an email and I'll take them. Thank you.
Festivus,
Best of them.
That's
Yeah.
Karen,
I will echo both Bill and Brigida and say that I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday until we see each other again in January. And I'll see you guys then. See you on the big screen.
Yeah, the Zoom experience.
Warren,
Yes, happy holidays, everybody, and thanks for the cookies and the candies. See you later.
Rebecca,
Yeah, Merry Christmas. I'm sorry I wasn't there with you guys this evening because I probably won't be in person at the next meeting either, but I'll see you guys soon enough for real.
you're here with us, you're just not physically here.
Yeah, you know, it's not the same.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if she's more comfortable.
She might not be more comfortable, but she's more comfortable.
Well, I'll just repeat, very, very happy holidays to everyone. One other thing, just to keep you in the holiday spirit. If you haven't had a chance to look at the pictures or videos or anything from the WBAO concert last week, I can send you links or
Oh,
just
that's nice.
go
yeah.
on social media and find them. It was really, really impressive. And if you only have 6
Really?
minutes to devote to it, I suggest spend your 6 minutes watching the 6-minute video of their performance of While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Was it
Yeah.
the concert for kids?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I think that's one I didn't watch. I watched a lot
Oh,
of them.
I can bring it up in here when the meeting's all over, but oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, you know, recording it from the back of the auditorium doesn't really do it justice, but oh, yeah, it was.
What was
It
the
was good.
attendance?
I don't know the exact attendance, but
Was it pretty-
they reported last night that these concerts out-earned last year's concerts with lower ticket prices, because they lowered the ticket prices.
Isn't that interesting?
And I can say this from the FAB perspective, because we said we were gonna donate all of our proceeds above cost of all the concessions we sold. We wrote a check for $600 last night. So, I mean,
That's.
that's a lot of concessions for us, considering we're selling everything for $1 or two.
Yeah,
And that was
Wow, that's
over the cost, so really, we probably sold about $900 to
Yeah.
$1,000 worth of, yeah.
You know, Jonathan, when I was in the band, we made a ton of money selling sub sandwiches that we made ourselves.
Can you still do that?
So you know, with the way they've instituted wellness policies and stuff, I don't know, but I do know. This wasn't FAB, this was the school, but they used to have kids do like a bake sale as part of the event.
Right.
And then sell off what they baked, and they've kind of changed over the years since Bill Hale retired, and they're looking into what they can bring back. Actually, the orchestra teacher walked up to me the other day and she's like, what do you think of like a silent auction in the cafeteria, you know, for a future concert? That WBAL concert, not any concert. And I said, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're looking for other things to, you know, do to raise additional funds for the kids campaign, you know, kind of, corollary to the concert itself.
Yeah, we used to have an assembly line and we'd be in the cafeteria and we put the subs together and people waited. They were like, when are you coming to my house to take my sub order?
Another
Next
good
weekend.
one is Ross Park.
Yeah, I know over the years, there have been more, restrictions placed on, you know, non-prepackaged or store-baked
Right.
goods, because you can't necessarily certify what ingredients are in them and stuff, so I don't know what all the rules are these days, but if it's possible, I think they're willing to try anything.
Yeah, it's too, if they can't do it, it's too bad, because that was a huge moneymaker.
Yeah,
Oh, I forgot something, and that was that I contacted Ashley about a street light at the end of Log Chain and at the crossing of Melonbrook. And the light is behind a large tree. And you cannot see
No.
the crosswalk at night. So when you're driving, it's potluck whether you'll hit a
Yes.
pedestrian or not. And the other day, I saw someone at the last minute was coming across there.
Oh,
It was
that
pretty
happened to me
terrifying.
that the-
Mhm.
So thanks to Ashley, the county is going to put something in 6 weeks. They're gonna move, they're gonna replace the light, put it somewhere else, direct it away from the house. We met with the homeowners. It sounds like it's all gonna work and you'll be able to see
Great.
it. So it's our county at its best.
Yay.
Yay.
all right, so we need a closed session. So we can talk about matters pertaining to employees and personnel. For the first part of the closed session, we will keep Brigida with us and dismiss Amy till we open up. For the second part of the session, it'll be board only. CCR is welcome to stay.
Okay,
Is there a motion to go to closed session?
So moved.
A motion from Bill, second from Warren. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4.